All right, here's the deal. Sorry for this kind of like handheld intro here, but ToneX just released a new software called the Modeler. It improves capturing accuracy for ToneX pedals. It has a whole bunch of other benefits too. I made a full video about that here. I walk you through all the little nuances of it, and I walk you through a capture process and show off some of my newest captures that are using this new modeling technology. But as I was doing all that, I found out something that I think is really cool for the community. It could be good, could be bad, I don't know. But part of the enhancement of the modeler is that the captures are always perfectly in phase and always the same latency. So basically, I'm going to let myself talk about the rest of that, but I just wanted to give you an intro of what that is all about. So check out that video right here. Okay, here's the deal. I was getting all ready to record some demos for you, and as I was pairing different amps together and checking phase and everything like that, because I'm going to be totally honest with you, this is my first time trying these tone models on actual ToneX pedals. I've been auditioning everything just through ToneX software and A-Bing it and making sure it sounds good, but this is the first time I've run my pedal board into the ToneX pedals and kind of messing with things in my Apollo console. Something is crazy awesome, could be super cool for everybody, could be, I don't know, a bit of a drawback for some. Now here's what I mean by that. So a lot of us in my genre, we use two ToneX pedals, we run them in stereo, we have a different amp capture on each side, and that gives quite a wide stereo picture that we love for our stereo rigs. You either love that or you hate that, whatever. The problem has always been, what happens when you sum those to mono? They don't always sound great, right? Well, here's the deal. With the new update that ToneX has done, they have made all the latency of all the captures the exact same, and they have aligned the phase the exact same, like I mentioned before. So guess what happens? Every single capture sounds pretty darn good in mono. Check this out. So right now I just have the Dr. 80 Humbucker Gold 1 capture going on both sides. So that's in stereo, but it's the same capture, so you kind of don't hear a real stereo effect. So if you can see on my console, what I'm going to do, that my pedal board's coming through right here. You can just see it's a stereo linked channel right there. I'm going to unlink that so I can separate them. And I'm going to make sure my little API preamp is on both sides, and I'm going to make sure they're the same level right here. So let's hear that. Now, these are both in mono, right? So they're panned center both sides. As you would expect, it sounds just great in mono because it's the same capture on both sides. Now let's just pick a random capture. Let's just go to one of my ToneX's and let's just pick the 357 Gold 3. I don't know. It's not even supposed to be for a humbucker, but who cares? We're just going to throw that on there like that. Now, let's first hear it in stereo. The revenuer, by the way, is coming out of analog 2. It's on the right side. So you can hear the volume differences there's a little bit of a volume discrepancy between the two. That's totally normal. That has to do with how the amp compresses in the headroom and all that. That's totally normal. But now, let's pan them to the center. It sounds like they're one amp. There's no weird phasiness. It's like they're one amp. And I promise you, if you were to have done this with the regular ToneX captures, it would not sound quite like that. It would sound maybe decent, but not like perfectly lined up like these are. Pretty amazing. Let's pick a different capture. Let's go to my Benson Chimera, and let's just pick Ben 1 0. Same idea. Let's pan it. So again, the Dr. 80 is coming out of the left side, and the Chimera is coming out of the right side right now. So So in stereo, you're hearing a little bit of, that stereo phenomenon going on because one side's a little louder than the other. They're EQ'd slightly different. But again, what happens when we pan them in the middle? Check it out. Honestly, it's amazing sounding. It sounds really good. Now, the crazy thing is normally when I've summed to mono in the past, and I've had wet effects on, it kind of gets funky. So let's try that. So let's widen it. Let's make it stereo. Let's throw on, I don't know, some stereo effects here. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but so you can hear that kind of stereo widening. So let's sum it to mono and just hear how the effects sound. I mean, that's cool. That's not bad in the slightest. Again, I don't normally pair these amps together. Whatever, you get the point. That's not the point. The point is, it sounds stinking great in mono, which has never been the case for me before. No matter how hard I've tried, I've always tried to make my captures sound good in stereo or mono. They've never sounded that good. So this is all due to IK's new modeler technology, where they are lining up the captures together. They're minimizing the latency. They're combining them. They're making the polarity the exact same. So that's awesome. Okay, here's the drawback though. Sometimes it's cool to have a little bit of like that latency discrepancy. In a real life environment with stereo amps, if you were to really mic up a pair of stereo amps, they probably, unless you were really intentional about, sending a click signal through your two amps and a microphone and lining up, making just sure they're lined up exactly right when you were recording them, most of the time they wouldn't be lined up perfectly. And when you pan them, you do get a little bit of this like phasiness that's kind of a helpful thing in the widening effect, which is probably limited here because of the fact that they're perfectly aligned. So I think for the vast majority of us, for live use, just to take away all the guesswork and the polarity and all that stuff, this is a huge win. But for those of us who kind of appreciated that little extra width, I know some of my friends who do capturing kind of like to have one microphone that's maybe a little bit further on one amp than the other amp, again, on purpose to get that widening effect. Now, IK is going to make that sort of digitally aligned and kind of take out a little bit of that artistic work that we might have tried to put in. Now, I haven't tried to put it in, but anyway, now we just have to rely on sort of the amp's EQs to separate it enough. And like you just heard in this example, there was still quite a wide, feel with the Dr. 80 and the Chimera. Anyway, so but I just wanted to show that to you because I thought that was really cool, maybe disturbing for some of you, but I know a lot of you are going to be appreciative of that.